Hello, you sexy biscuits, and welcome back into Kingdom Come Deliverance. Do you hear that? In the background. Yes, it's the sound of a roaring fire. That only means one thing. We're going to read Kingdom Come Deliverance fanfiction. Because yes, fanfiction for literally anything exists. So grab a cup of coffee and your jammy dodgers and sit down and listen to the tale of Kingdom Come Deliverance, the tale of the peasant. The tears of heaven fell upon the dead, fire and wrecked homes of Skalitz. At the front of the castle gate, there are 5 bandits surrounding the bohemian young man who lies down in the mud. This young man with the crew-cut hairstyle is completely beaten up, and most of his muscle is completely incapacitated. Also, his white gambeson, decorated red waffenrock, and gloves, brown hose, and his old brown boots are completely covered in blood and mud. Yes, this description fitted no other man but the son of the Skalitz blacksmith, and his name is Henry. Bailiff of biscuits. Sorry, I couldn't help it. He lifts up his head, and through his cloudy tunnel vision, he can see a couple of dead bodies just a few feet away from him. Those are the corpse of his mother and father, who lies down on the mud in vain. Damn you, I'm dead. I added that bit. Father! Mother! Henry said in a weak and rough voice, while his tears slid down across his cheek. Out of nowhere, a leg plate steps in front of him and blocks his view. The young man looks above him, and there he sees his skinhead man with a fresh scar on his left eye. That skinhead name is Runt. He wear a dark brigandine on his torso and plate pauldrons on his arms. This skinhead man towered in front of him with grimly smirked place on his lips. You should have just given us the sword and ran, boy, the skinhead man said as he spit on the mud. Because of your persistence, you and I are now here, lying down in the mud, dying. Henry's eyes filled of hatred and gritted his teeth in anger. Henry tried to push his body to get up, but his bad condition stops him from doing so, though the bandits laugh as they watch Henry struggle to get up. Runt clicked his tongue in disappointment, and he picked the sword laying beside Henry. This is Radzig's longsword, the sword that made by his father and him, the sword that's supposed to be delivered to Sir Radzig. This is a fine blade, lad, recently made too. Oh boy, the chief will like this, says the skinhead man while he examines the sword. Anyway, this sword that your father made, did you help make this? I doubt it. Surely your father never imagined that the sword he created will be stained by the blood of his son. Hearing those mocking tones made Henry anger burst into fiery flame. He placed his hand on the mud and struggled to push himself up. Henry's mind is full of determination, determined to get that sword back from him, even though his muscles tell him that they are too weak to perform this action. Unfortunately, the skinhead man kicked him up to the guts. Henry coughed blood on the mud. That rhymed, sorry. And he lands splat to the dirt. He faced up to the heavens while his hands placed on his aching gut, and heaven tears wet his despondent face. The bandit leader grimly laughed, and he stand above Henry's body and said, What a miserable fate, to die by the sword that you helped made. The skinhead raised the sword up to the air as the point of the blade aimed on Henry's throat, while Henry closed his eyes and wait for the inevitable to come. Stop it, you goat fuckers! All the 5 bandits' actions stop, and they look behind them. Before them, a fine bohemian lass. Her eye is green and her hair brown, was pulled back from the forehead and tied down into tail. Her white apron, her dark brown common dress are stained in blood and mud, which tells that this woman is also a victim of the Cuman army raid. No! By the god Teresa, run! Henry said on weak and soft voice as he recognized the woman's voice, and now he felt worried that she might get involved in the situation. The bandits looked down at each other and they burst to laughter. Then Runt open his mouth. "What are you doing? Fight us with your broom?" Thunderous sound echoed throughout the grim town of Skalitz. Every muscle of the live person just froze, and terrified from the sound. I'm bleeding." The skinhead and the other bandits eyeing the person who said it. There, they saw one of their men bleeding on the chest, and fell down to earth. His muscle went limp. Just the one. That one giant long muscle that I also sometimes call the dangler. "What?" the skinhead shout with a terrified tone and confused look on his face. Out of nowhere an arrow hit one of the nameless bandits. The red arrow with the black feather just pierced through his throat, and its arrow tip went through the other side. Also blood gushed from his throat, staining the arrow and his gambeson, while he making a choking sound until he fell down to the mud and died. "Ambush! Ambush! Out of the village now!" the skinheads shout in panic. Him, along with Radzig's sword and his 3 men, left the scene in a hurry and panic. Henry forced to open his cloudy eye to see what's going on. He looked where the sound came from, and there he saw 2 blurry figures walking towards him. Then, when they got closer, the blurry figure revealed a 2 maiden that wear a strange armor. A maiden warrior, this first strange maiden, wears a red Io samurai armor, and a black sleeveless cloak. Oh god! On top of her armor, also her red Io samurai helmet. It has a golden horn that has similar looks of the sword. But for this horn, like the sword, the crossguard twisted upward. Also, it has a small tiger head emblem in the middle of it. Also, for her weapons, she has a gun holster, chest strap, and that holster carried 2 arquebus pistols, and she has another 2 arquebus pistols tied on her waist. She has 2 unique katana tied on her left side of her waist. Also, she has an arquebus rifle slung behind her torso. Lastly, is her charming feature. Her skin is as white as snow, and her sharp eye are blue as the ocean. Her hair color is black. It's long and silky, and it's a Haim hairstyle. Then, behind the first maiden is her servant. Her servant also wear a similar feature of armor. This servant girl wear her Toke do Tesai samurai armor. Also, she has large sods that hang on her left shoulder, while the right sod hang behind her, although this maiden do not wear a helmet. Also, for her weapon, she has 2 unique katana tied on her waist, and a red yummy bow on her hands, and a quiver slung on her back. Lastly is her elegance feature. Her skin color is pale brown, and her cold eye is as grey as steel. Her hair is chestnut brown, and her hair bangs cover the part of her eye, making them look slanted. Also, in right front section of her hair is tied, and back of her hair is also tied with red ribbon into long ponytail. The maiden samurai that wear a sleeveless black coat just towered in front of Henry. She pulled out a paper fan from her coat and spread her fan open. She then covered her lips with it, and her sharp eyes stared down at poor Henry. She closed her fan and revealed her mischievous and charming smile, and she said in Nihongo language, "Rejoice, because the gods smile upon you today. It seems like I was sent here to save you from death. Oh, you are a fortunate one." Henry do not understand what she just said to him. He can't recognize the foreign language, but one thing he knows for sure is that it's not a language that is English, Czech, or Cumans. Okay. Anyway, Henry has no more strength to spare to think about this, and he let the exhaustion consume his conscience. I've seen people reading fanfiction on their channels, and I wondered if there was any chance that there was some Kingdom Come Deliverance fanfiction, and we have found some. So if you want to hear the rest of this story, We're about halfway through right now. If you want to hear the rest of this story, make sure to tell me and I will do the second half in a future video, because this is crazy. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for this story, so you can go read it for yourself. To the person who wrote it, to the Lone Ranger, awesome. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that you've crossed over somehow samurai with humans and Bohemia. I can't wait to see where this goes, if I'm completely honest. Anyway, thanks for watching, but until next time, that's me, out. Bye, guys.